Get ready to be jolted out of the ordinary and into a world where conversations are charged with intensity and facts. The Lightning Strike Talk Radio with your host, Mohammed Faheem, broadcasting live from the heart of the city on Chicago's Progressive Talk Radio, WCPT 820 AM. Welcome to a radio show that charges through the airwaves with an electricity like no other. Here's your host, Mohammed Faheem.
Tim Brophy joining us. Good morning, Tim. If you could please unmute yourself and boy, you look good.
Good morning.
Good morning. Is it snowing where you are?
Sorry, no, not yet. I don't see any here.
It was still snowing where I am over here. But thank you so much for joining us. So, Tim, you have been the Will County Treasurer since 2018.
Yes.
What made you get into this gig?
Well, I always say to folks, I've done many different jobs to make a living, but the only calling I've ever heard was to public service and political office. I ran as a young man when I just got out of college for the Joliet City Council. Was not successful that first time, but ran again in '95, and then I served 4 terms, 16 years on the Joliet City Council. So
Wow.
that really gave me a taste of real constituent services, because those city matters, the local matters are very important to people, and the phone rang all the time. It was a part-time pay, but it was a full-time attention you had to pay to those constituents.
I know, Tim. I mean, I'm the Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals Commissioner over here in Plainfield.
Right.
And people think, yeah, it's a part-time gig. No, there's a lot more that goes into it before every meeting. So as the Will County Treasurer, what do you consider your top 3 accomplishments in this role?
Well, I'll give you a couple. First of all, when I came into office, the staff, there were 19 employees in the office when I started. Their work was very siloed, very much separated. This is my turf. This is your turf. You get yours done, too bad. If you're not done, I'm done. That kind of attitude. The culture was not a team culture in the office. So I very quickly changed that culture. And now we have incentives in place and promotions that are based on cooperation, teamwork, cross-training, so that we never have any critical tasks unmanned because we have a lot of statutory deadlines to meet in the treasurer's office. And so we're not counting on simply one person who knows that task, but multiple people know that task. It was important. The other thing we did was in May of each year, we collect a lot of money in real estate taxes. This year it'll be approximately $2.4 billion, billion with a B. And so that money comes in quickly, a lot of it at one time. We have the 2 due dates, but a lot of it comes in May. And there was some time when those funds, before I took office, were just sitting at the large bank. I don't want to mention names, but without any interest earnings. And even though they were only there a couple of days and maybe a week and a half, because of my banking background, I understood that we could take advantage of overnight swaps and sweeps to make sure that those funds were put to productive use, and in return, earn an interest, a yield to the county. Last year, that effort yielded over $2 million in additional interest earnings to the county. That wasn't done before. And so, yeah, you're muted, Mohammed, you're on mute. Mohammed, can you?
Sorry,
There
folks.
you
I was muted because I was trying to clear
Yeah.
my throat. There's snow outside, and I've got a frog in my throat. So go figure that out.
That's
So,
all right.
Tim, honestly, that is something that is so fiscal responsibility for the position that if you're shown. A lot of people don't understand it, that there is a lot more to making things work properly,
Right.
especially in our government offices. When I was working with the Department of Employment Security, the Illinois WorkNet system, as one of the directors in the Arlington Heights office, and you talk about people not wanting to do their job properly. These people did not even want to learn a new skill while working in a government office. So I had a real hard time trying to bring them up to customer service standards. But
Right.
let me ask you this: what are the key lessons that you have learned while serving in this office?
Sure. It's that no matter how much education we try to do, no matter how much information we put on the website, no matter how much information we put on the back of the tax bill, there are still dozens and dozens of constituents that will need our help, our hand-holding, our voice services over the telephone, and our in-person services every day. There just simply is not a way to educate the entire property tax paying population of Will County at the same level. And so it's important. The people in the office are important. As I said, now we started with 19, and even though the county has grown and the work has grown, the number of transactions has grown, I have reduced the staff to 18. I don't know of many other government offices that can say that over a period of 7 years that they've reduced staff, but we're doing more with fewer people in the office, and we're getting the job done well.
And how have you improved the transparency and public access to county financial information during your term?
Sure. We completely revamped the website. Again, there's some in each elected office that statutory elected official can do a lot of things with the office that they have. In our case, the treasurer had a separate website from the county's main site, and I revamped that. I folded it into the main county site. So there's seamless transaction. When you go to the county, you can find the treasurer. You don't have to go find a treasurer separately. Then with that revamp, we built that site from the user position forward. Instead of from a technical person's perspective, we wanted to make sure that the first time user to that site would easily navigate toward the information they needed. And of course, most of those are heading toward payment processes. And so I think if you look at the website now, you'll find that it's so much more constituent friendly, taxpayer friendly, and that's been a big driver. We
So
put a lot of information there too.
when you talk about the website, what is the website? How do people find you?
Sure. Treasurer.willcounty.gov. So
Very
the
simple. Treasurer.willcounty.gov.
treasurer.willcounty.gov.
So, what initiatives have you implemented, Tim, to improve efficiency in tax collection, investment management,
Yeah.
budget reporting? I know you just said something about, not keeping money, when money's not collecting interest for even 2 days. That was like millions of
Right.
dollars. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, people mistakenly think that the skill necessary for the treasurer's office is a CPA or
Yeah.
some accounting degree. When in fact, the auditor, we have an auditor's office in Will County. That's
Yep.
where the CPA work is being done, and we have a finance department under the Will County executive, and that's where the budget work is being done. The other accounting work. The skills necessary, the important skills in the treasurer's office are real estate knowledge and banking. So with those skills, I've made sure that we focus on the real estate, the problems we have in the treasurer's office with collecting taxes from people sometimes are deeply embedded in the complications of the real estate transaction. And so unless you understand that and can undo that, untie those knots, you can't fix the problem that taxpayers have, title companies, attorneys, trust companies, you name it. Those problems are solved by understanding the real estate transaction. The other part of it with banking is that you have to understand how to make every dollar work every day, every minute of every day. And so by using my banking background, I've done that with every time we've got revenue in, we make sure that the excesses are invested and that the liquidity necessary for the county departments are there and ready for them when they need it, but we don't have too much excess laying around that isn't put to work.
Wonderful. Folks, you're tuned in to the Lightning Strike Talk Radio Show. We come every Sunday morning on WCPT, Chicago's progressive talk radio station. Our guest today is Tim Brophy, Will County Treasurer, who is running for another term in office. So, Tim, what are your goals or priorities now if re-elected for another term?
Sure. So the tax cycle, what we refer to as a very complicated system that involves multiple departments within the county. I do not control it myself. The clerk doesn't control it. The IT department. We need multiple hands on this because every time parcel changes in the county.
Mhm.
The mapping area has to understand what changed. The supervisor of assessments has to understand what changed. Of course, the treasurer for creating the correct bill that would go out to that parcel. The Will County clerk is very involved in the tax cycle because of their role in collecting levies and producing tax rates. Um, and then of course our IT department. This system we use right now is exhausted. It is taxed. We need to revamp this. We need to do it carefully because off the shelf products are not working for large counties like ours. We're
Mhm.
watching our neighbor counties struggle with a product they bought off the shelf, and years later they're still trying to tweak it to get it to work right. Luckily, we have a fantastic information technology department in the building, and we've got a custom built system, but
Mhm.
we've reached the limits of that system. I won't pretend to understand all of that on the IT end, but I know that it's important that when you want to get bills out on time, when you want to get, we have 284,000 separate tax bills, each one of them with different information on it. They have to
Wow.
go out on time and they have to go out accurately. So that just doesn't happen by chance. It's important that we get this tax cycle team together and revamp the system we use. And
Awesome.
that's a big
Awesome.
goal. There are a
Yep.
lot of little ones in the weeds I won't bore you with.
Okay. So one of the things that I learned in talking with you today is obviously I was thinking honestly that you have to be a CPA in order to be a treasurer, but you explained it very well that the CPA's function is slightly different from what the skills that are required for a county treasurer's position. So, Tim, in this respect now, what does ethical leadership mean to you in this position?
Sure. Well, in my case, it means doing the right thing no matter whether anyone's watching or not. In my case, we have a lot of flexibility with our budget, but I spend $0 on travel. Now, we have meetings in Springfield. There are treasurer associations that meet. There are the National Association of County Officers that meets in Washington, D.C. I could easily uh, uh, expense a train ticket and hotel rooms and so forth. I haven't done that
Huh.
because most of my work, it's important to be in the office and available to constituents. The large counties don't have as much benefit from those meetings and those seminars as the small ones do. Small ones need the help. They gather together, they learn new things. Being a large county, it would be wasteful, I think, to travel. And so I haven't done that. Zero travel budget in the treasurer's office.
Awesome, thank you. And when are the elections again?
So March is a primary. I'm grateful that I have no primary opponent. I've got the respect of my party teammates, and so I'll be on the March ballot without an opponent. And then in November of 26 is when I'll face a Republican opponent for reelection.
Awesome. And we'll definitely want to bring you back again before the general elections, Tim, to again talk to people and share your vision of what you want to do. But in one sentence now, before I let you go, why should voters choose you to retain your position?
Sure. Couple of reasons. So one, like I said, we're doing more with fewer people. I've found a way to make sure that we use the technology, the efficiencies of technology, and not just replace somebody because I could. That's an important thing. Most government offices grow by the number of people, and we're doing more with fewer people. That's really important. The other thing is that my team has not too recently, but fairly recently joined. Now they are unionized under the machinist union. So I have
Huh.
machinists in the office. And I welcomed that because it's very difficult. The work we do is very unique. So it's hard to value that. And so without bringing in our friends with the machinist union and evaluating our tasks and writing the job descriptions and then comparing them to things across the state and the country, my staff wasn't necessarily being paid accurately. And so that's a big one. We've instituted the promotional, like I said, in order to get promoted, you have to go beyond the tasks that are in front of you, but learn other things too. And it makes the office more flexible, more reliable, more valuable to the people. That's an important thing to do.
Thank you so much, folks. Tim Brophy, Will County Treasurer, who's running unopposed in the primary elections in March, but he will be having a Republican opponent in November. And let's make sure that Tim gets to retain his position. Tim, thank you so much for joining us. We
Thanks
got
for the
Read
time.
Bible just joined us, and we'll be taking a quick break, and we'll come back after the break with Read Bible, folks. You're tuned into the Lightning Strike. I'm your host, Mohammed Faheem. Every Sunday morning, I've got a frog in my throat today, so please excuse the constant, uh, you know, uh, gargling sound that you hear when I'm trying to clear my throat. But it's wonderful to have you, Tim. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll take a quick break and be back on the other side of the break with Read Bible.